So evening is upon us now, and there's a lot of change in the light, change in the temperature, change in your feelings, and we stay, and because we actually care. And one of the things, one of the teachers I had said that when you do meditation, it's actually the kindest thing you can do for yourself. And we don't normally think of it that way, that meditation is the kindest thing you could do for yourself. If you want to do something nice for yourself, then meditate. That's not our usually daily perspective. If you want to treat yourself, meditate. You know? We usually think about, I don't know, something that we could purchase or some other experience that will give us some sort of short-term emotional satisfaction, joy. And we know that they don't last, but that's not the point of those short-term things. We just want to enjoy that moment and kind of give ourselves a little mini vacation. So then how is meditation the kindest thing you can do for yourself? Especially when it doesn't feel that way necessarily. It feels kind of like a struggle often. I know or you're doing it because you feel like you should do it, but you don't really want to do it. And that's kind of a bummer. I should do it and I don't really want to. So, like a lot of things in life, study, job, meditation. Oh no, if it's in that category, then we need to make a little shift in perspective and contemplate what it is we're doing and why it's so kind to yourself and to others. And since the topic of our retreat really is kindness, you know, the season that's shifting now, and I've talked about change, and especially here in this area of the world and in this country, when the summer starts to shift to autumn, there's sort of an environmental kindness that's happening. You can kind of be outside more and enjoy a little bit. There's something kind happening. The seasons actually work that way if we open to that. So it's the season of kindness, you know, when the first rain comes, and the rain is in a lot of cultures thought of as water is cleansing and purifying, and in Judaism and a lot of religious faiths, water has an element of life and purity. We shower with water, and it gives us life. If there's water on a planet, there's life. So when we're looking for life, we're looking for water. So this shift of kindness from the summer to the autumn is not just the temperature, but in a week or two we'll probably get a little bit of rain, and there's kindness there, and you feel it, and everybody revels in it and loves it, because you feel like there's a sort of gift being given. And this relates very closely to the actual word metta, because metta in Pali means gentle and friend. And when the commentators on the Pali term looked at what did gentle mean, the comparison they gave was to rain, gentle rain. So metta is closest associated with rain. Not the type of tropical storms that are happening more and more, but the type of rain that we experience here, at least we want to experience. It doesn't always happen that way. But the first, second, third rain you really feel as sort of this gentle gift, like thank you, you know. And the other aspect of rain is that it's sort of unconditional. It falls everywhere equally. It doesn't say, okay, this is my friend, I'm going to fall on his lawn, and this is not my friend, and I'm going to kind of make a hole in the clouds for this lawn. No, the rain is gentle and unconditional. It's universal, falls everywhere. So, the gentle rain, the gentleness of metta, that kindness, that gentleness. Now, how do we relate it to our meditation? How is meditation the kindest thing you can do for yourself? How is meditation an expression of metta? First and foremost, to yourself, to the very person sitting. The other part of metta, translated as not only gentle, but as friend, as a gentle friend. Gentle friend. And here's the aspect that can help us understand a little bit of how metta and meditation are closely related. Because a true friend doesn't judge. You know, a true friend doesn't judge, accepts you as you are. That's what makes them, you know, your friend. If a friend is a conditional friend, a sort of a friend, we say a fair weather friend in English, meaning when the times are good, you know, he's around or she's around. And when the times are not good, no friend. But a metta friend, meaning the friend part of metta, is a person who's there when it's easy or hard and doesn't judge because you made a mistake or even because you hurt somebody. They are there to first hear you and understand, perhaps support and help you find your better self because they actually believe in you. Maybe sometimes they see something in you that you don't see in yourself. And that's a real friend. They actually help you become a better you. But in a gentle way. Not in a way that tells you what to do, but in a way that first lets you be yourself, but your true self, your bigger self. So we can kind of see the parallel with meditation, and a lot of the teaching that I'm trying to suggest is that the gentle friend of metta meditation really believes in you, doesn't judge, accepts, and understands that the real way to change and, you know, grow is to include everything you are. What are we doing in meditation? What are we doing in what we call mindfulness? Is it really any different than what a gentle friend, what a metta friend does? Only we're doing it from our mind to our mind, which is a pretty remarkable practice if you think about it. Can you be a gentle friend to yourself? And if you can't, how can you be a gentle friend to somebody else? It doesn't have to start with you. So, in the practice of meditation, what we're doing is accepting. In the same way we want to be accepted by someone else, we first have to accept ourselves. What's happening in your mind? All the quirks and idiosyncrasies, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What is it that makes you right now? And are you able to just sit with it? In the same way, if you're having a hard time, if you're confused, if you're angry, if you're upset, you really hope that your friend won't run away. That your friend won't get scared off because you're losing it. Because you had a moment of weakness. Or several moments. Because you had a fight. Can we sit, observe, accept, receive, and encourage when we don't feel like the people we want to be? Can you be a friend to the person you sometimes don't like? That is really kind. That's really kind. And that's what meditation really is about. It's easy to keep company with people you like, with people who are agreeable. It's much more difficult to keep company with the people or the person that you sometimes find yourself who's not so agreeable, the difficult friend. Well, that's a true friend. You know, there's a saying in English, a friend in need is a friend indeed. So, when you really need a friend, when you're feeling kind of lost and lonely, can you be that friend for yourself? That's metta. The gentle rain means it's unconditional. That's really the essence of metta, is that it's not based on conditions like, you know, as long as things are going well, I'll be here for you. Meaning, I hope you'll be there for me. No. It's all the time. And as you see in meditation, much of that all the time is not necessarily pleasant, not necessarily unpleasant, just as it is what it is. And often it's just boring. Geez, I have to hang out with a boring person? Yeah. Or someone who just seems petty and distracted, always going back to stuff that seems irrelevant? Yeah. Yeah. That's who you have to be friends with. That's who you have to be gentle with. That's who you have to be kind to. Because if you can't, then what are you left with? Self-criticism, judgment, anxiety, and depression. Because you just end up feeling you're not good enough. And who's telling you that? Not your friend. Your friend might say, you can be even better. But your friend's not going to say not good enough. Because your friend believes in the goodness that you are. Meaning, your mind, trust your mind. Can you trust the nature of your mind? Like that rain. Pure, clear, cleansing. A few years ago, there was some research done I read about where they divided a group of 40 people into two groups. One of them did a course in meditation, mindfulness-based meditation, and the other group said they were put on a waiting list for this course and they'll do it later. And they were in a clinic and they're waiting to write a questionnaire, and this is after the course had been done and before the waiting list had been filled. So there's a group that had done a course, a group that didn't do a course, and they're waiting in a waiting room to fill out a questionnaire about it, and there are 3 chairs in the waiting room, and 2 of them were taken, and there's 1 that was left, and the person who came in who had done the course or who had not done the course obviously came in and sat on the last empty chair. And a few minutes later, somebody came in walking on crutches, and leaned against the wall. 16 of the group that did not do the Course of Meditation, 16% got up and offered the chair. And of the group that did meditation, 50% did. There was an immediate effect. An immediate, like this is one course. Now all of those three people, the two who were sitting in chairs and the one on crutches, were all, part of the experiment. Confederates of the experiment, they say. So they're all working for the experimenter. So it was all set up. But there was a immediate and tangible difference in the attitude. Now, this can be explained in different ways, and maybe it was, they're just feeling good after, feeling quite generous and nice after the course, and a week later maybe they wouldn't be. Who knows? But the experimenters, when they thought about this and tried to come to some understanding, one of the suggestions was that simply because they were paying more attention, they noticed that somebody had a need, and they acted accordingly. It wasn't necessarily that you felt more compassion or kindness. Maybe that is true. But the meditation just strengthened the power of attention. And when you do notice things around you, you respond, you relate. What prevents us from relating and responding correctly is a lack of attention. Usually we're not mean people. We just don't notice. There aren't many evil people in the world, but there are many people, or most of us, who are lost in our own thoughts and in our own plans. And, we wouldn't want to disregard somebody, and we wouldn't want to be, mean in any way. But we just don't see them. We just don't see them. Meditation is seeing clearly what's happening now. Letting go of past and future, which is what blocks us from really engaging with this present moment. And whether the present moment is somebody on crutches who needs a seat, right? Or someone who's in pain and needs just an ear, or yourself that needs just a bit of kindness. What do you see now? What are you seeing? This is what meditation is asking us. It's not asking so much, are you relaxed? Did you let go of your stress? If you want to let go of your stress, look at the world, okay? But because you're looking and focused on one aspect of yourself, but not the fullness of being human, that's stressful because it's very limited. Remember, it's like being in that airplane where you're in a small compartment, and so everything's magnified, and that makes it stressful. Expand your sense of self, and your stress will ease. But when you're in a small place, and if that small place is either a physical place or a mental place, who you think you are, what do you think you are, your thoughts, your ideas, even your beliefs, if they are small and narrow, that is stressful. That is stressful. How do you escape that real small place? Look, listen, feel, pay attention, pay attention. Your life is much bigger than what you think it is. That's an important realization. Your life, as you live it, moment by moment, is much vaster, bigger and kinder, much more universal than any single thought you can have about it. As soon as you start to have self-centered thoughts, you've limited that vastness. And you've taken the big rain and turned it just into a tap that serves you. Let the rain be rain. That's your mind. We always want what we don't have. It's the truth of dukkha. Okay? If I were to define dukkha, the first noble truth, you want what you don't have. And you often don't want what you have. How do we change that? First of all, be kind enough to just accept that situation. The situation, your mental conditioning is, you're always going to complain. Or a lot of the time, you're going to be complaining. Okay, that's just a small place. But that's not your true home. That's like the complaining room. Okay? You're in a mansion and you get stuck in that room. Right? Just walk out. Know the room is there. It's not going to surprise you when you open the door. Here I am again, the complaining room. It's like I've been punished, sent to that room. Okay? So you know what? You can forgive your mistake and step out. And you'll find yourself back in there again. But that's okay. Go to the living room. It's a bigger place. There's a fireplace there. It's nice, it's warm, you know. There's a fountain in the corner, whatever you want. When you find yourself in the complaining room, just go to the living room. You'll find yourself keep going back there. That's okay. Just remember your house is much bigger. And the passkey, okay, the key to all those doors is simple attention. It's simple attention. When I was at the monastery recently, in the morning we would do about 2 to 3 hours of work. As part of the meditation, there was work meditation. And you never knew, every morning you'd stand in the hall and they'd read your name and your job. You never knew what it was going to be. But you're always hoping it would be something good. So the first day I was called for digging ditches. Like, digging ditches? Okay, at least it's outside. So go outside, but it sounds like fun until you consider in upstate New York the amount of mosquitoes. It was like, I found no kindness. I just could not be kind. And it reminded me of one of Issa's, my favorite haikus of Issa. All the time I pray to the Buddha, I'm killing mosquitoes. So that verse came to me very often. I have a lot of lifetimes to make up for that day. Yeah, so I'm saying, God, if I can only be inside, then I wouldn't be in there. I wouldn't be like that. So the next day, lo and behold, I was inside, but my job was cleaning toilets. So, which is better? And of course, now I'm thinking of the outside. Now that I'm inside. And finally, the third day, I get to the vegetable garden. They grow their own vegetables there. I was in the garden, and for the rest of the week, I was in the garden. And the head gardener who was directing me, he always was, he was a real bodhisattva. And I mean this in a real way. He was the type of person that no matter what you did, no matter what, he'd always come over. And you know when a supervisor at work comes over, you usually expect to be told how to improve, right? Or what you're doing wrong. Yeah. Like, if they're nice, it's how you can do it better. If they're not nice, it's what you screwed up. Yukon, that was his name, he'd come over every time. Great. Great. I was like, really? You know, I didn't believe it. But he kept saying it until I did believe it. That was the amazing thing. He was a sort of dream manager. It got to the point where when I was working in the garden, I was looking around waiting for him to come. I was like, I need your encouragement. And every time it was the same. Oh, that's great. Yeah. And it made me want to work. It made me want to work. And then look for myself how I can do it better. Not because I wanted to impress him, because I couldn't impress him. It was always great. But because I started to believe in it. I started to believe that the work actually was good and had a value in itself. Had a value in itself. And one day, this is the line that I'll remember. The whole retreat, all the meditation, everything, it just came down to this moment. That's all I really got out of it. Wish I shouldn't be admitting to you. But he came over to me, and we were planting these tiny, tiny little like threads, saplings, where they would, you have to separate these tiny little roots and just stick your finger and put it in the dirt. And it's just one at a time, separating these tiny little leaves and putting the dirt in. And someday it would be a big Swiss chard or something that they'd eat. But right now it was like this tiny little thing. And he came over and he was sort of apologetic. He said, you're going to plant these. He said, it's not rocket science, but it's delicate love. I thought, wow, that's it right there. Like, that's it. Your meditation is simple. And there's nothing even you can really explain to people. There's no complicated equation that will lead to your happiness. It's just delicate love for the details. It's those details, right? I need to make sure that, the root was just right. I need to take my time. Certain things you can't rush. You can't rush putting the root, which is thinner than dental floss, putting the root in. You can't rush that. Otherwise, it won't go down straight. It'll be like curl up and it won't, catch well. You couldn't rush closing it because you need to see where it is, and if you rush, you'll cover the one little leaf that's up. And there were, like 500 of them to do. No rush. I didn't finish that day. I don't know what happened to the rest of them. I left after that. It'll never be finished. That garden is just, keeps on. Another thing to do, another thing to do. But all those things are accomplished by the delicate love of attention to that one activity. And that one activity, in that moment, was the most important one. Is it the most important one when you're giving a lecture at the academy somewhere, or you're doing something, I don't know what, or something at work, or you're you know, whatever, cooking or cleaning. No, that's not the most important thing. That little sprout is not the important thing. It was the most important thing at that moment. And that's the delicate love. That detail and all it contains and all it includes, okay? All the rain that it includes, that's the most important thing in that moment. Next moment, it's a different love. Or the same love, but a different delicate point. And there's one quote I love from Mother Teresa. There are no great acts. There are small acts done with great love. And that's the delicate love that Yukon was referring to. It's not really hard to figure out. It's just, what are you doing now? And what's the regard, the care, the consideration? What's the kindness that this moment requires of you? Maybe it's just to let be. Maybe it's not to interfere and just, it's got to grow in its own way. Even if it dies, it's got to do that. Maybe the kindness is stepping back. Maybe the kindness is getting involved. But you won't know unless you pay attention to the specifics of that situation. One plant needs something else than that plant. One situation, one person, one meditation. All of them require the same delicate love, but a totally different gesture. You'll only know if you look and listen, if you pay attention. And that's the true kindness. The foundation of all metta, of all kindness, and all love is the act of pure attention. Without that, how will you ever know what to do? There's truly no other way. You can't skip the roots and get the tree. The root of metta is mindfulness. And that's why practicing meditation is the kindest thing you can do for yourself and all others. Because it'll make you the best friend you've ever had. Without saying a word. May it be so.